Our lives can be so fast, too much, too soon. And in those times when it's too fast, too much, too soon, and we're still moving through these unprecedented times where our bodies might not be moving as much, but what about our brains? Our brains are moving at a pace where we weren't meant to think about all of these things at the same time. Whether it means that we're to stay home, to not stay home, to work from home, work on site, the choices and the options and the changes and the uncertainty can sometimes feel insurmountable. And so when it can feel like that, it's very helpful to just pause, take that moment to recenter, and come back into our bodies, out from our heads, and recenter into this moment today. Today is a gift, and that's why they call it the present. Join me on the Just Pause podcast. Welcome back to the Just Pause podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Sumnauth. And today we're going to be talking about breathing break time. But before we go there, just wanted to do a quick recap of episode 1, where we walked through our senses in our happy place. Talked about how that can be used in meetings as well. So check out episode 1. But for episode 2, breathing break time, we're living in a world of too much, too fast, too soon. And what that can mean is when we're moving this quickly, sometimes we can get triggered. And when we get triggered, of course, it taps into a very old part of our brain, the back here by what's called our nape area. And that part of our brain is called the amygdala. You may have also heard this be called the reptilian brain. This is part of our brain that is from times when there were saber-toothed tigers around, and we had to decipher whether there was a breeze through the bush or whether it was a saber-toothed tiger that was going to come and kill us. And so that part of the brain, it hasn't really advanced much since then. We can often perceive things that we then internalize as danger, and a response comes out of us, or the trigger. And that response can look like all kinds of things. It can look like a clenched jaw. It can look like a raised eyebrow. It can look like our shoulders up to our chin or ears. Sometimes it can look like pleasing or fawning. So you may have heard this fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. That's that part of the brain that's being ignited when we're triggered. And so wanted to share with you a quick exercise. Now, this exercise is something that you can integrate, let's say, in between meetings or even during a meeting. And what I'm going to take you through is what's called the 4x4 breathing technique. It's super easy. Sometimes it could be really nice to play very soft music in the background just to help us get back to our resting heart rate, connecting back into our breath, that source of life. And so let's move through that. I'll invite you to take a seat, much like last time. Get comfy in the chair that you're in. I'll invite you to close your eyes, and I'm going to close them too with you. We're on this together. Close your eyes. And I want you to breathe in for 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. Big exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. And again, in, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. Big exhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. Last one. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. Big exhale out. 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. And let's just do one here for good measure. Just in and big exhale out. And when you're ready, I invite you to slowly open your eyes. I always feel that I get a little bit sleepy eyes when I come back out from a meditation like this. And so that's okay too. And I also want to mention it's okay as well if you found that your thoughts were maybe going in different directions or different emotions were coming in. That's okay. That's part of why this is a practice that we'll do together. Because practice at least makes progress. And when we're thinking about making these kinds of shifts, it's about incremental shifts towards more positive habits in this kind of non-judgmental way. The other thing that this is really helpful for is accessing calm when we might not be feeling calm. And so I invite you to try and practice this 2 times this week. Either in between meetings, or if there's a moment during a conversation, just one deep breath in and one deep breath out. And if you're able to, one deep breath in, and then have the exhale be longer. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of the Just Pause podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Sumnauth. I thank you so much for spending time here.